After foiling the Vanthampur plot to drag Baldur's Gate into hell, our heroes met with the commander of the Flaming Fist, Liara Portier. With the information and properties seized, including the shield of the Hidden Lord and an infernal puzzle box, she implored the party to take them to an expert at Candlekeep. The journey to Candlekeep was fairly uneventful, but for an ambush by a Cambion disguised as a hayseed farmer, and Poggle inciting a riot at Wyrm's Crossing. All in a day's work, innit? Once they arrived, the party was escorted to Silvira Savicas, one of Candlekeep's archmages and foremost expert on the Nine Hells. After a short ritual, she opened the puzzle box. Inside was Thavius Krieg's bargain with the fallen angel Zariel. This infernal pact ultimately doomed Elturel and its citizens to her domain for eternity. The party struggled with this revelation because they knew now the only hope of saving Elturel lies beyond that hellish threshold. Gargoth, the shield's involuntary inhabitant, promised to aid the party as a guide and advisor. Silvira warned against trusting him, but did admit that Avernus can be as disorienting as it is brutal. She sent them to an associate of hers, an anthropomorphic otter named Traxigor, via Griffin. It was here that our intrepid heroes met Lulu, a golden holyphant. The excitable pachyderm told them she was with Zariel and her Hell Riders during their ill-fated attack on Avernus. And somehow, she lost most of her memories and powers between now and then. Without much ado, Traxigor prepared his planeshift spell, and quickly thereafter the native Faerunians went further than they'd ever gone before. The city was decimated and in flames, with fiends of all kinds marauding through the streets. They carefully made their way to High Hall Cathedral. It was there where the party learned that the Grand Duke of Elturel, Older Ravengard, went on an expedition to the Grand Cemetery to retrieve the Helm of Torm. Lulu and Ravengard both believed the helm could give insight to Elturel's situation and possible salvation. In the cemetery courtyard they met Gideon Lightward, a former priest of Lathander, corrupted by Zariel. The party managed to convince him to allow them into the ossuary, on the condition that they dispose of any demons that are pouring through a rift in the sacred vault dedicated to Torm. Within that vault, our heroes found Ravengard, clutching and clawing at the helm while lost in an excruciating vision. Neither he nor the party could remove it. However, they safely escorted him back to the cathedral and completed the ritual to remove it. Once Ravengard awoke, he told them about what happened inside that helm. He said that he felt two entities competing and fighting for his mind. In the scattered visions, he saw Zariel locked in battle with a massive demon. She was losing. But before the chaotic fiend could swallow her whole, Zariel plunged her heavenly sword into the ground. The demon was thrown back thousands of feet as an immense alabaster palace rose around the angel and her sword. Avernus itself quickly reacted, and a massive bloody scab consumed the heavenly palace and Zariel entirely. Lulu's memories came rushing back to her suddenly. She was there! She didn't stand a chance against the hordes descending upon the disgusting scab, and she flew away, aimless and distraught. She doesn't remember much else except stumbling upon two curious Kenku in her weakened state, and they took her to Fort Knucklebone. She was positive she could find her way to the sword from there. The party still had the problem of either descending down the oversized chains, dragging Elturel down, or floating perilously close to some infernal hordes. They opted for the latter, and were fortunate to avoid any major swarms. Travel through the barren landscape was treacherous and exhausting. After a brief diversion at the watchtower overlooking the River Styx, our weary adventurers finally arrived at Fort Knucklebone. Mad Maggie, a punk rock-looking hag, introduced herself, and, upon seeing Lulu, seemed to take genuine interest in the party's fantastic tale. She invited them in to her hillside fortress. The party spent hours, days, weeks there. It's difficult to keep track, although it's tough to say if that's Avernus's doing or the seemingly benevolent hags. After doing several favors for Maggie and her band of misfits, Maggie decided to help the party recover Lulu's memories. Lux, Poggle, Smoke, and Garrick sat in a circle around the merry Hollyphant. The dreams were hectic and buried under layers of bizarre metaphor. However, at the end, Lulu burst awake and exclaimed, "I know where the sword is!" The party is now freshly supplied, newly equipped with an infernal tank and a fucking motorcycle, as they prepare their next move, while still within the relative safety of Fort Knucklebone.